Hello, 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 and welcome to Megan DiMartino Live, Hope and Possibilities. I am so blessed to be here with you today to share some thoughts and ideas that I hope will truly help you. Today's title of Megan DiMartino Live is New Beginnings. Well, this is Wednesday before Easter. This is Holy Week. And it made me think about the essence of what that means and what Easter is about. And I wanted to share that and then application for you. New beginnings, new birth, new life. It's spring. A couple of weeks ago on the 21st or the 20th, spring happened. It was a long time coming this year, but it is here. And that to me resonates with new birth, new life, that new beginnings. I want to talk to you today about stopping those limiting beliefs, because those beliefs are what stops us in our tracks. And often we don't even realize that we have these beliefs. They are so small. They have been with us. It's like part of our baggage. It's been with us since we were little kids. That is what has been building in this suitcase. And often this suitcase gets so heavy and large that it has to go into a steamer trunk. And then we start dragging that steamer trunk around with us. And it isn't what you want. You do not want this. I know that you have dreams and goals and aspirations to do things, to if it might be just do spring cleaning in your home, it might be just to start reading 10 pages of a book every day. It could be very simple things. Could be working out, maybe just putting your sneaks on and getting out and walking. It's that new birth, new life, that new beginnings. And those lead to the next step. But we have those limiting beliefs that stop us. And so today I just want to share a few things with you that hopefully will help you stop those limiting beliefs. And one is really about asking for what you want. Now you say, Megan, why would I ask for something like walking? Why would I ask for something as simple as, getting up and doing a morning routine, even just simply making your bed? Why would I ask for that? But if you break it down into small, manageable parts, you will see that some of those limiting behaviors become beliefs, become things that absolutely do stop you from continuing on. Simple things. Dream big, but start small and daily. It's that limiting structure of whatever that might be, but the genesis of it truly begins from a mindset. So I want to help you today to understand that it really is that small, manageable part. Dream big, amen, but break it down into small, bite-sized things. And so now I'm going to talk about asking. But I'm going to share a story with you that I'm sure you've heard before from me. One of my pivotal moments of this was when I had developed Glycolic. If you haven't read my story, my book, Hope and Possibilities, please do go to my website, megandimartino.com. You can download it there, but we'll talk about that later. The thing about starting Glycolic and the whole story behind it, I'm not going into that today, but it was very challenging. And there were many things about it that were challenging, and it really exposed to me some of my own limiting beliefs. Don't misunderstand. I didn't overcome them just immediately and actually with that situation, meaning that timeline of starting Glycolic. But I did see them, many of them, and I was able to identify it. And then when you identify things, you can start working on them. So in that period of time, I was highly undercapitalized and really did not know how to build a business. I truly knew how to develop a product line. I truly knew how to, from a R&D standpoint, research and development, product development, then packaging, and then marketing, and taking it to market and educating. And I truly knew that. I knew how to brand it and then market it. But what I didn't know, and because I didn't have any experience in it, was to really build a business. So, with that said, I trudged along and learned as I went. I never stopped. I never gave up. There were times I said, oh my gosh, but I never gave up because I knew it was part of the process and I knew I was learning. So, about 5 years in, the lab that manufactured the products knocked on my door and said, would you like to sell us your business? Reason they were interested in Glycolic is because they had tried to get into the wholesale beauty industry, because in those days there were only two forms of retail. There was no internet, there was no website, there was nothing on the level that we know today. No Amazon. So they had tried to get into the wholesale beauty industry and failed miserably because it's very relational. And I had worked in it in national sales and marketing for two companies. I, just dug in and learned through working with those companies. So it was time, as I said, to do my own thing, but not necessarily to start a business. So they didn't know I was struggling, but they saw the growth. They saw the exponential growth of it, and they saw that it was being sold to the wholesale beauty industry. And that's why they were interested in Glycolic. And I decided that it would be a good idea because it would help me monetize it. I could then sell it and reorganize and start again. And that's exactly what my plan was to sell it. And then contractually, they wanted me to work with them for a couple of years because I had the relationship with the distributors. And then I was going to start again. And I had ideas of, by this point, it was the late 90s. And not that the internet that we know today was happening, but websites were beginning and there were other channels, electronic TV, different things were happening. So I thought I would broaden the whole base of it. So with that said, I sold it to them, ran it contractually, and then they came to me a year into this contract and said, would you like to buy it back? Because during this period of time, they were bought out by a Fortune 500 company, and that company didn't have any real interest in Glycolic. So they approached me, and I said, it made sense to me because it was now really, really exponentially growing. It really was really building upon itself. So I said, if the price is right, yes, because it was my baby. It was my first creation. I could do all those other things with it. So we entered a buyback structure, and I had a year to pay them for it. And I was essentially in that building doing just-in-time manufacturing, and it was my offices, and I was continuing to build it. The world didn't know any of this. I was just continuing on. So after a year, I had paid the agreed amount, the agreed sum to buy it back, and something was not right. I could feel it, and there were other things too long to go into it here. But I could see they were dragging their feet. And so I hired an attorney. I basically pushed them forward. And then one day, guys, one day, they literally started calling the distributors and telling them that I was no longer involved and that they had taken over Glycolic, i.e., a hostile takeover. Holy moly guacamole. That was really a dark day. Again, there's so many points to this that I don't have the time to go into. But what I will share with you is I got quiet and I asked the Lord, what should I do? A, and B, I asked, and again, ask, and if you do not ask, you will not receive. And I asked clearly, what should I do? And B, I said, Father, I want to move on. I didn't mean lose Glycolic, meaning I wanted a settlement from them because this was wrong. I wanted to gain a financial settlement, see if I could get it back, but if not, to be guided to the next step. So I wanted clarity. I needed clarity of what I should do. So I asked. So I'm going to ask you today to do something for yourself. I want you to take a journal, take a notebook, take a piece of paper, and write down 5 things that seem beyond limit, beyond what you think that you could do, should do, deserve, all those limiting beliefs. I want you to write down 5 things that you truly want. I want to live in Italy. I mean, whatever. 5 things that go beyond what seem like is possible today. Because quite frankly, at that moment, other than having an attorney, other than that, it seemed pretty dismal and dark. I had lost it. I had spent a lot of money and a lot of time, and what was I to do? But I asked, and then I listened. I listened to my heart. I listened to my spirit. So that's number 2, is write things down that seem truly, a few of them anyway, that seem unattainable, that really off the page of what might be in your life. But these are dreams that you've had forever, even when you were a younger person, because there are people of all ages. So write that down. And then a few of those 5, a few things that you have been wanting to do that are in the scope of reality that you've been putting off, and ask God, help me to start. Help me to gain clarity on how to start, how to get out of my own way, to how to get out of those limiting beliefs. So write down 5 things every day. For the next couple of weeks, I want you to write these same things down and ask in a prayer form. Ask, Father, how I've written these down. Guide me. Guide me to what I should do, what that first step should be. So write it down, then listen. Be quiet. That still, small voice. And as time goes on, and it may take a long time, don't misunderstand, and we'll talk about that another time, but you're starting the process of getting out of your own way and asking, putting it on tablets, as they say in the Word of God, meaning God said, write it down. So write it down and ask, what should I do? Are these things that I should do? Have a conversation with God. Then listen, because that's the Spirit of God. Those little quiet nudges, those little quiet voices. You'll learn to listen, not only listen to them, but kind of feel them kinesthetically, that they will become part of you and you'll become aware of them. Listen and begin to trust it. You need to trust it, because that is one mistake that I make all the time. And I'm sure that if you're not aware of this process, that you do, because we can't just live in our soulish realm, mind, body, spirit. We are a 3D, as Glenn Lundy says. We live in a 3D. Most people live in a 2D, mind and body. We need to bring that spirit in, that mind, body, spirit, and bring that spirit in, that 3D, 3-dimensional essence. And then you'll start to not only listen, because you'll get different things, but then as you continue to listen, pray, and meditate on it, then you'll begin to trust what God is guiding you to. But it starts with asking. It also starts with, again, before you ask, you have to see it, visualize it, and then believe it, and then take action. But I want you to do a tangible thing. I want you to write it down. I want you to write it down. So the end of that story, guys, is that was a New Year's. It was Memorial Weekend, 1997. And as I shared with you, I had hired an attorney back in March because I could feel and see that there was some things that were just not right. And I needed to have someone on my team guiding this. So I hired this attorney who practiced law in Texas, but also in California. And he, after this hostile takeover happened, he asked me, what did I want? And I said, I want a settlement and I want clarity with this. And so he said, you got it. And a few hours later, maybe a day max, he called me all excited and said his law school roommate at UT was the lead counsel for this company. Wow. Wow. And that person orchestrated that settlement. So here with that settlement, which is ostensibly the money that I had paid into buying it, came back to me. And with that, it gave me the foundation to start anew, if that was what God wanted me to do. Because I got the settlement. So I knew that a day or so after this hostile takeover, but I still was quiet. I was still in prayer. And one day during this Memorial weekend, so it was a long weekend, things were quietish. And I was in my office and I saw this little prayer book that I used to have as a little kid in grade school, in Catholic grade school. And I opened it up and there was a note card in it, a literal note card, had a copy of a watercolor sitting on a porch looking out over the ocean, white wicker furniture, and opened it up. And it said, the call to new beginnings is ringing in the air. It's reaching through the circumstances everywhere, the mist of circumstances everywhere. Stand tall. Take the first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you. Psalm 37. So, i.e., take that first step. Take that first step. Because it is in that step. So, by doesn't even say you're identifying limiting beliefs. Write down 5 things that are in your heart's desire. And that, as I said, can be just getting up in the morning and putting your sneaks on and getting out and walking. 5 things, but everything has been holding you back. Homeschooling the kids, da 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 da. 5 things, big dreams, daily desires, and dreams and goals and aspirations. But a couple biggies that are seemingly unattainable, because quite frankly, that seemed pretty dang unattainable to me. And because I didn't have the money to fight them, and that's what they thought. But it went beyond them and it went to God, the courtroom of heaven. And this gentleman was the vehicle, the attorney, but then God stepped in and moved the furniture. And that was one of the things he was excited about. He said, I was flying back to LA and I opened my day timer that also dates it. And before you had your address book on your phone. And he said, gosh, I saw that his law school roommate worked for this company. He got to LAX, he called, and the guy orchestrated the settlement. Wow. Wow. So in this Holy Week, when Jesus, the Passion of Christ, and this is Tuesday, his Good Friday, it's all, Holy Thursday, then Good Friday. Shared with you, I grew up a Catholic, so I lived through many, what did they call them? The Rosary, Passion, crucifixion ceremonies, or whatever it's called. But so I sat in church many a Good Friday, but prepared for Easter Sunday, new beginnings. So I thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, write down 5 things, couple of biggies that nobody else knows, those heart's desires. And then practical things, and then things that that you could accomplish with assistance, and not just physical assistance, meaning in the earthly realm, like maybe me, but also God assistance, like going to the courts of heaven and saying, Father, I need guidance here. And what did I want? I wanted a settlement, because I needed that foundation to begin again, new beginnings. And by the way, from this, Novita was born. Novita means new birth, new life, always something new. And that's my promise. Next week, I'll be sharing with you some things that I'm putting together that truly will assist you to as I write in my book, get off the couch, help you take those first steps. But I'll share some of that next week with you on Megan DiMartino Live, Hope and Possibilities. Just know that there is infinite possibilities just over the horizon, but you have to take that first step. and you have to take it with hope, knowing it will be there, and it's never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you on Friday with Unique Leaders Live. If you have missed any of Unique Leaders Live, go to YouTube, to the Megan DiMartino Hope and Possibilities, Unique Leaders channel, and they are all archived there, from Sharon Lecter, Greg Reed, Glenn Lundy, some amazing, Bob Berg, Heather Parody, some amazing people that have shared their hearts, and because their success is in their story. And you can hear some pivotal times, just like I shared with you. We're all in this together. We all are on a journey, and we're all working together. So go to Hope and Unique Leaders Live on YouTube, but also it's a podcast. So I mentioned walking, working out. You can go on iTunes, Spotify, and all the iPod podcast platforms, and they're there. Remember, guys, I'm learning too. So just know that I'm doing this for you and for me. And to push on and to take all of this information that I have been so blessed to this journey of my life to help you to have hope and infinite possibilities. So Unique Leaders is on a podcast now. It's archived throughout the beginning, and we have just celebrated our first anniversary of Unique Leaders Live. So we're very, very excited about that. And we're just beginning. And we have some amazing guests scheduled for us coming these next couple of months. So I look forward to that. Also, I mentioned earlier, and I've said throughout the time together, my book, Hope and Possibilities, #1 on Amazon. But during the very challenging time of March and April last year, I decided to put it on my website, megandimartino.com. That way you can download it and read it, because it's a New York girl story deep in the heart of Texas. It's a timeline of the 50s, 60s, 70s, but also my career journey after that. So I know that you will also see yourself in this. There's so many similarities of today as in the world as it was back in the late 60s and 70s. So I know you'll see that too, but I want to just give you hope and infinite possibilities, because they are there for us and they're just over the horizon. So have a wonderful rest of this week, a beautiful Easter, and we'll see you. But before that, we'll see you on Friday, Unique Leaders Live, 4 p.m. Central. And then from there, next Wednesday, Megan DiMartino Live. Be blessed.